What is up, guys? So today we're going to talk about getting stabbed in prison. When I got stabbed in prison, and it was a bit of a boss move on my part, even though I never meant it to be. But I'm going to get into it. And what's brought this on is watching this. Some guy called Sayers has just been stabbed in prison. I don't know much about him. He's supposed to be an old crime figure, one of these old gangster types, and apparently he's been stabbed in prison. And that's the reality of prison. It winds me up when people say, "Oh, prison's a holiday camp." It's like the usual one is it's Butlins without the swimming pool. But people saying that, I guarantee you, when they were in there was whinging and moaning about how crap it is and they can't wait to get out. Because it's rubbish, it's boring, it's depressing, it's violent, it's like a schoolyard mentality with deadly consequences. People stabbing each other over games of pool. And yeah, it's crap in prison. But this Sayers guy has apparently been stabbed or slashed. I don't know the truth. I'm sure the truth will come out. It depends on who you ask. If you ask Brian Cockrell or Paddy Conroy, then Sayers has had a contract on his head and he's been slashed. He's had his throat cut. He's nearly had his head took off. They've tried to cut his head off. And then if you ask Humble Dryer, he says, well, someone tried taxing his Rolex and stabbed him with a pen. So, I'm sure the truth is somewhere in between, and the usual people are commenting on it. Yami B spoke about it. Now, Yami, I don't really take anything he says as truth, because so many times in the past, he's stood on something and says, oh yeah, 100% that happened. And then the next day, he's making an apology video saying, oh, now, Uncle Yami got it wrong. Well, your credibility is gone, I can understand if you get it wrong once or twice, but it's happened loads of times with him. So, I like Yami, by the way. He's all right. Keeps it real, but I don't believe everything what he says online. But, yeah, we don't know what's really happened, and that's what's inspired me to do this video today about when I got stabbed. And it's nowhere near this level, like getting cut with a razor, getting your throat cut, all that sort of stuff. It was just a simple stabbing in the leg. Now, what happened was, I think I was in Everthorpe. I'm not 100% sure on that. I've been so many different prisons, so many different times. It's all jumbled now. But we was at work, and I can't remember what we was beefing over. I think it was a practical joke, which practical jokes in prison, you need practical jokes. But it's a thin line, Some people take it the wrong way and it can end in violence, which is pretty much what happened here. Now, we was working, and what we used to do is like these polypipe things where you would have to screw the ends on, take it out of the packet, put these bits in it, put it in a box, and then you put your name on the box and get like 50 pence a box or something. And what happened was, I was in with this kid, and I didn't like this kid. He's a Donny lad. I'm not going to say his name. I actually seen him in town the other day, and time has not been kind to him. He looked like he was in his 70s. He looked like a right mess. But yeah, I went to work this kid. I didn't like him straight away. I don't know why. Every now and again, you just meet someone and you just say, I'm not feeling that. So yeah, I didn't really get on with him, but I had to work with him. So one day he went on a visit, or went back to the wing, I can't remember exactly, and I nicked his box, took his name off it and put my name on it, like a practical joke. And I thought he'd come back, see it, and be like, hey, you dickhead, and just have a laugh with it. But it didn't go down like that. I think he didn't come back off the visit, so it went through, and I actually got paid for his box, and he was mad about it. And see, the thing is with me, if you watch my channel, you'll hear me say, I'm not a fighter, I'm not a tough guy, but I'm not an idiot. I'm not a div. So if someone puts it on you, there's times where you have to fight. So I was ready. I'm thinking, it's going to kick off here. He was mad as hell, and he's come storming up to me. And because I was ready, I was just like eyeballing him, thinking, right, if he fucking makes a move, I'm just going to have to start throwing down. And he's come right up to my face, and he stabbed me in the leg. But I didn't know that he'd stabbed me. I didn't even feel it. I thought he'd come up to me all angry and, just like whack my leg out of frustration or something, because I was just concentrated on him. And he's come on, he stabbed me in the leg, and I'm eyeballing him, and I saw it in his face. The best way I can describe it is, You know that movie Terminator where he goes into the biker bar and he says, I want your clothes, your boots and your motorcycle. And that biker bloke has a puff of his cigar and then sticks it into his skin. And he's expecting him to go, oh, but he doesn't. He just stands there looking at him and his face drops. It was kind of like that. And he'd come up, stabbed me in the leg, and I was eyeballing him. And then he's like, his face drops, he's walked back, and then he's just walked off in a huff. And I didn't even know I'd been stabbed in the leg. And I sat down, and then I saw the blood in my, like, you used to get these, like, green work pants. And I saw the blood in my green work pants. So I'm like, fucking hell, what's that? I've gone to the toilet, I've realised I've been stabbed in the leg. And then it was the end of the shift, we've gone back to the wing. So now I'm sat in my cell now, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, he stabbed me in the leg, I'm going to have to do something now. I don't know what, to this day, I don't know what he used. It was about that long. I've got the scar on my leg. So I don't know what he used, but we're back on the wing now, and I'm worried about it, you know. I'm thinking, fucking hell, I've got to do something here. He's fucking stabbed me in the leg. So I was up all night, and I'm contemplating, worrying about it, thinking, I'm going to have to do this, I'm going to have to do that. And then the next day, we've gone back down to work, and he's gone. And I found out afterwards that the same day he went back to the wing, he's got into it with one of the screws and started chasing him with a with a sweeping brush. So they've shipped him out. So that was a big relief for me, you know. I was like, fucking hell, I'm glad now, because now I don't have to do it. Because in prison, there's times when somebody pushes you, you have to fight. Otherwise, everybody will just think, oh, well, he's an easy touch. You know, there was times when one guy from Rotherham, I had to go and fight him in a cell. I didn't want to fight him, but it was over nothing as well. He looked like, and I learned an important lesson this day as well, he looked like Elmer Fudd, you know, like a prepubescent Popeye. And we was just messing about, you know, having a laugh, and I can't remember what happened, but I put my hand up, you know, as if to give him a slap. I was like, yeah, you dickhead. And I've done it a million times in prison, you know. Most people like it's just having a laugh. Don't mean no by it. But this one day, all his mates were like, "Oh, are you gonna let him talk to you like that? Fucking hell, that's fighting, fucking talk and all this shit." And it just escalated like from 0 to 100 straight away. I was like, "Fuck's sake!" And then he put it on me in front of everyone and says, "Right, well, let's go in that cell then." And I was like, "Fuck's sake, I don't want to go in that cell," but everybody was, it felt like the whole wing just stopped and everybody was staring at me. I was like, fuck, I've got to go in now. So we're going over to this cell, and I'm thinking, right, I'm going to bob and move, I'm going to pop the jab. And then we realise when you get in the cell, there's no room. It's like a broom cupboard, but there's a bed in there, a toilet, so you can't fucking move. So all this plan what I had, I'm glad it happened so fast, to be honest, because if I'd have had time to think about it, it would have done me head in. Because I would have just overthought it. But he went in there, and he was so strong. I couldn't believe it, because looking at him, I thought, fucking, I'll batter him easy. You know, he's a little bald-headed muppet. But then when we got in the cell, you know, I threw a punch, he just charged straight through me, picked me up, and he was strong as hell. I've never seen out like it. And I couldn't do it. He just fucking ragdolled me about, threw me on the floor, and then got me in a headlock thing, choked me out, and I was just fucking, you know, tapped out. And that was it, done. And I come out of the cell, my head was bright red, because it just had me in a chokehold, and that was it. But, you know, I went in the cell, that's the main thing. And I remember when I first come out, my head was fucking bright red, and one of the Donny lads come over, I can't remember his name, AD something. But I think he's dead now. I can't remember his name. And he's come up to me straight away. He says, "Yeah, do you want me to fucking slash him? I'll burn him with red hot water." I said, "Nah, mate, it's done now. It's over." And yeah, that's what it's like in prison. It can be the best word to use for prison is roller coaster. 1 minute you can feel like content, like, well, I say content, you know, like, well, I'm here now. I've got what I need. I've got me tobacco or vapes, or, you know, I've got my phone credit. I've got my canteen every week. I'm settled onto the wing, I feel all right, and then boom, in an instant, it can be turned over and you can be fighting for your life. My old cellmate, again, I can't remember his name, I'm fucking terrible with names, but he was from Rotherham, And he was a bit of not an old man, but he was, I'd probably say he was like in his 50s, and it looked like an old man, but he was sound. He was a lovely bloke, and he was always chasing spice, though. That was his downfall. And he went out onto the wing one day, and he's gone into this cell like he did a million times, looking for spice. That's my dog. And he got took hostage with another kid, a Donny lad, a young kid. I'm not going to say his name. I saw him the other day, actually. He's actually still alive. But he might not want people to know about it. He got took hostage with this young lad from Donny, a YO, because he was the induction wing, and they mix YOs and cons on the induction wing, and then they'll send you off onto your adult wing or the kiddies wing. And they took my cellmate, I don't know how many, there was a group of Scousers. He had a long black leather coat on. And there's these two lads in the cell. They took him hostage, tied him to a chair, barricaded the door, and just slashed him with a razor blade all over his face and neck. Made a right mess of him. And he was going to do it to the young YO from Donny. And my cellmate told me, he says, yeah, I told him, don't do it to him. He's just a fucking young'un, you know. If you're going to do it to me. Which that's a real fucking man doing something like that. That's a boss move, in my opinion. And so the screws have had to come. They've barricaded them in with these two hostages, thrown a flashbang in and got him out. And his face was a mess, and he had to have tons of stitches, loads of stitches. He ended up growing a beard so he couldn't see them all. And it affected him for the rest of his life. And he did get I've not seen him since, but he was in line for a payout. And I remember going down to education like a few weeks later, and all the little YOs were down there saying, oh yeah, he did it on purpose so he could get a payout. And I was like, you fucking little muppets, you've got no idea. That's fucking traumatised him for the rest of his life, that. You know, and he might have got a big payout for it, but fuck, I wouldn't want to be took hostage. And you know why they did it? So they could get a ship out. Because they didn't want to be in Doncaster, they didn't want to be in Doncaster, they were Scousers, they wanted moving. And back then, that was a way to get it done. Just take someone hostage. And that's what it can be like. 1 minute, you're just cruising along, you know, doing your jail, playing pool, and then boom, you're fighting for your life. You're getting slashed up. So, you know, does that sound like a holiday camp? Definitely not. And that's the reality of prison. So I don't know what's happened with this Sayers guy. It's fucking could have happened, could it? I did hear that JDP, our old friend JDP, apparently he got stabbed when he was in prison. Somebody stabbed his bumhole with a penis. But all joking aside, well, we're on the dark side. Fucking hell. What about this Biz character? Jesus Christ, how not to do a podcast should be the title of the last. If you don't know what's happened, right? This guy, the Biz, strange little dude. He's done a podcast. Right? He's trying to build his channel. I get it. He's done a podcast with Ed Jogman to try and get on the ladder. And in this podcast, he's talking about killing animals and going around when he was a youngster looking for nests so he could kill them with an hammer. I was like, he's a fucking weirdo, isn't he? And let's not forget, he has made a conscious decision, right? He knew he was doing a podcast. So he's been laid in bed, because I've been offered loads of different podcasts, right? I ain't done none yet, but I will do some eventually. And you think about what you're going to say. So he's laid in bed, knowing he's going to do this podcast, thinking, wow, what can I say? What can I put out there to turn the public on my side, you know, to impress them so that they come back and I can build my channel, because he was on about wanting to get monetized. And what does he talk about? Oh, I know, I'll talk about killing animals. That'll win everybody over. And everybody's turned against him, because obviously nobody likes people going around hurting fucking defenseless animals, do they? And it's like, why would you say that? What an absolute idiot. But everybody's turned against him now, and the thing what got it for me was, right, I get it, you know, I used to go to school with kids that had ADHD and they was running around setting fires and just being annoying little twats. But, you know, if you ask them about it now, they'll say, oh yeah, you know, I wasn't very nice when I was a kid, I was a bit out of control. But he's on there, like, laughing, boasting about it. And the most disturbing thing was the fucking his eyes lit up. He was grinning like a fucking little weird, like, you know, in that, is it Lord of the Rings, where he's like, oh, my precious, and he gets his ring and he's beaming, and that's what he looked like. It's like, Jesus, this guy's not fucking right, is he? But it will be interesting now, because the floodgates will open now. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of the woodworks, because I'm not saying he's a dodgy cunt out, but I wouldn't be surprised. That's probably why he was backing the sheriff, because he's a fucking weirdo as well. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out about this guy, because I would not be surprised if there's some strange goings-ons in his past. And that's the thing with the dark side. If you're going to come on here and talk shit about people, you better come correct, because they will dig it, you know. They will find anything dodgy what you've done. That's why I can come on here and talk about woman beaters and stuff like that, because I've not got none of that shit. Plenty of thefts, plenty of shopliftings, you know, plenty of time in jail. I've been homeless, I've been a heroin addict, I've been a junkie, I've stolen up family members, you know, I've done all that mean, horrible stuff, but I've never done no wrong and stuff, and that's why I can come on and talk about other people about it. But anyway, yeah, I'm not saying he's dodgy, but it will be interesting to see what comes out about him now. I mean, maybe he is solid, he's just made a mistake, lapse of judgment, and thinking maybe he is going for shock value, because it's a good way to get yourself on the ladder for YouTube, to get subscribers, to get views. Is, you know, go for shock value, talk about something what you know is controversial, what's going to get everybody watching your videos. A bit like what Jodo P did with his silly boxing promoter thing. But, you know, he got his views. I don't know how many he gets now, but the last time I saw, he got like 2,000 views, so fair play. And just while we're here, I just want to talk about, he's on a weight loss journey now. So, you know, I've had a bit of back and forth with Jodo P in the past. He was hilarious. I fucking destroyed him, in my opinion. and it was funny. I enjoyed it. But he took it well. You know, he just trundled along, took it in his stride. And then he did this promoter gimmick, and he's trying things out. He's not scared to laugh at himself, and he's on a weight loss journey, so fair play to the guy. I still think he's really unlikable. It does me head in, that's why I don't really watch him anymore. But good luck on the weight loss journey. It's not easy. I've been there myself. I used to be fat as a pig. I was massive. And the tip I would say is, he's doing videos out and about walking. You need to be jogging, you know, just you don't even have to jog far, just do a fast walk, maybe run a few little paces, and just try and get a little bit more each day. And anybody who's trying to lose weight, intermittent fasting is the way. I don't really intermittent fast now, but I wake up, I have a small bowl of fruit in the morning, you know, a few blueberries and strawberries or grapes, a bowl of cereal, and then by tea time, I'm not even hungry, I have to force myself to eat. So yeah, intermittent fasting is the way. And if you just eat between 1 and 3, or 1 and 5 even, you know, you'll lose weight, especially if you start running on top of it as well, or even just jogging. Like when I first started jogging, my mind was like, right, I'm gonna fucking run over this field, but that was the size of a house. All my ankles were swollen and bruised, I was that fat, I couldn't run anywhere. But, you know, I've got that dog in me when it comes to exercise and stuff. I'm like, right, I'm going to do it. And, you know, I was walking, and then I'd run a few steps, and then I'd walk. And I walked all the way around the field. I was exhausted after it. I was sweating like a pig. I was blowing out my arse. But I made it round, and the next day I woke up all aching and sore, and I thought, I'm going to do it again. So I did it again, you know, and you get further and further each time, and then before you know it, you can run the whole way without even getting out of breath. But anyway, that's the video for today. If you like this video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, Mange too, YouTube, Mange too.